we are all pawns, and ultimately, and this a lot of this goes back to like Joanne Richards. All these people come forth. They go, oh no, they have these big meetings, and they're all together, and they're all sharing, and they're laughing at humanity because it's the rich against poor. It's these other bloodlines against humanity. And once we get that,
well, we go back to the Ajiji.
Yeah.
Remember the Ajiji?
Yeah,
separate from the Anunnaki.
The Ajiji was just, it was like saying Americans or Europeans. The Ajijis were living on Mars. That's all that meant. These are people that were Martians. They were living on Mars. And then you had the Anunnaki who, I'm not even sure what the name, the Nibirans, I guess, are the Anunnaki.
Well,
Anunnaki means those who
they came from Nibiru.
They came from Nibiru to Earth. They were quite key, or man. They were man. So we're human.
Now,
we're
Maldek
man.
Maldek was the one. Now we're getting into cosmology, folks. 45 minutes into the show. So cosmology, alienology, everything falls under cosmology. Honestly, it does. Ancient culture origin, and then we can put that even under Ace Folklife to make it easier under anthropology, depending on how you break it down. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I wanted to address what Steve was concerned, and I want to address all the people that are really concerned about their team. Because it's just a team, right? And you have this loyalty to certain people who are your team leaders, and you get all wrapped up in it, and it's like, no, they don't care about us. You know, it's like Michael Jackson said, they don't care about us. They don't really care about us. They care about our vote. They care about us giving them power, control, manipulation over humanity. But, you know, you're not going to get married to a royal unless you're of the bloodline. And everybody else is outsiders. We're all outsiders. Everybody. And it's sad because we want to believe in our heroes. We want to believe that so-and-so's a good person.
Let's
and that they really care about humanity. But they don't. They don't give it.
Let me go into the cosmology of that.
Okay, your turn.
Remember, all right, the Allied Command, prior to all the historical factors that we do know on the planet, and most people on the planet have graduated from all the world religions into the Göbekli Tepe era, I guess one might say, because we're looking for words to describe places on the planet and how the pyramids, and there's many, many sets, but how we're lined up with planets in the solar system. Plus, we know that our ancients knew that by the rotation of the planets and how they kept the historic writings back to the Sumer area, or Sumerian tablets, and we can drop names, but there was actually ways that we taught prior to Thoth and the Anunnaki, and people think they're evil demons, but before we humans were trained by the kings and queens who were said to be original Anunnaki. Now, that's just one thread, Janet. So remember, this is a multi-layered $1 million or billion year and billion amount of money in gold to protect the planet. So we do know that gold is important. But the Anunnaki story is said that these people came and went, Janet fell off. I hope she comes back. So we need to talk about the fact that we are tracking not only world religions and how they all cross over and with what they call the deluge or the Noah and all of that. But here she is. I thought you fell off because I was talking about the Anunnaki. I accidentally
you pushed
the button.
I wanted to mute and unmute, and I hit the wrong button. And I forget what I want to reply to.
Well, just remember, before the kings. Yeah, but before, all I want to do is say that we did the fear porn and the fear factor, and it's today's time. It's that all the governments are running guns and drugs. All the governments make the most money off the things. The deep state. But what we need to go into is cosmology and getting off the planet. Because it's what it is they don't want us to understand that we came from space, we came from other planets, and those that were royalty kept those stories between the kings and the church. okay? And believe it or not, government and religions ran the program on the planet, okay? It was controlled. And we still have various levels of bloodlines that do that around the world, and they say that most of us, my daughter has other, but most of us have 46 chromosomes. And in Egypt, they thought because Egypt came along and tried with Sumer time to try to, but they didn't talk about the pyramids because they didn't have any data on it. They tried to make it like, it was made with people off the planet or those who they worshipped before that, and because they didn't understand. So let me get into the cosmology part that I understand about the Allied Command, okay? And this is that the ACO, the Allied Command organization that my husband and I were sent to understand in this reality, and it has to do with pyramidology and the pyramids and the markers where they were dropping various levels of genome for chromosome, and there is the DNA and the codices, and we use it in the medical field. It's the Human Genome Project, okay, all over again. But the thing is, those that from the heavens came, and all these other people, they were putting them on this planet. Now, the people that I work with in the Allied Command said they found us here. Now, they're billions of years old. Remember last week, Janet, when Steve was introduced and you started asking me questions I didn't want to get into, really. But we're going to be going there. And some of it is the fact that there are beings on the planet walking around, and some of them are trying to get people killed, and because of their DNA inheritance, and people don't even understand it. So some of them are picking up some of their family and putting pieces of equipment in them, which I guess they're less intelligent, because the ones I worked with, they don't have to do that. From what I could see, they could monitor everything. They don't need to put any piece of equipment in you. They're so far advanced. But the one thing that they told my husband and I was that they found us here, which really blew my mind, because I was under the understanding that they started at the Anunnaki level. But they weren't.
They found species here already, and they used what was already here. So this planet has been a experimental lab for billions and billions of years. The Anunnaki only came here 40,000 to 50,000 years ago. So no, we already had many species walking the earth. And
right,
so
they
wanted to see which ones would be most readily adapted, and they noticed that the Homo erectus was letting the other animals out of the cage. And he went,
the Homo sapiens.
The Homo erectus. They had
before they came
for other animals, and then they used the Homo erectus or Bigfoot as the base for splicing on their DNA, or the other way around. They took something as a base. Tasha thinks it was actually an Anunnaki, and they spliced the
They used the Igigi for that as the slave race. Remember, they brought the Igigi with them.
The Igigi,
that was just one race.
You're mixing terms. The Igigi means that they're the ones that came down from Mars. They are the Anunnaki. They left in the Mars base because they needed to use that as a transshipment station, because they took the gold to Mars.
But where is that written that they came from Mars? Because where's the term? Because the term Mars, and that's Zechariah Sitchin's, the Sumerian text about the Igigi, because I studied that years ago. Yeah, there's other people.
But
remember, I only read Zechariah Sitchin, 12th Planet. I mean, you might remember, I'm a Sitchinite like you are. So that's all we had at the time when we had Eric von Daniken. Remember, Eric von Daniken said, well, he was studying the Bible. But that was now, folks, that's not the only path, and that's one of the big. That's like going which universities did you go to? There's many people.
Other people that have translated. Not many. It's kind of a little field, but there are many people that have, looked at the. And I feel like we're neglecting Steve.
So we're splitting hairs again. We're digressing, from cosmology.
Yeah,
so basically, there's going to be.
Including Steve. Yeah.
Well, Steve, what it is, and we've only got 35 minutes now, but I wanted ufology, folks, the study of UFOs, nuts and bolts people. So that's people like MUFON and stuff. PSYOPs, you can say it's more like government, white, gray, black, and I can get into that. But we're going to have to break each one of these into a different topic weekly, apparently. But go ahead, Steve.
Another objection I have to MUFON is that it's still in the lights in the sky stage of the UFO research, and we're way beyond that. But a lot of people in MUFON don't want to admit that or go beyond that stage. I mean, we have physical evidence. We have abductee reports that will be taken a lot more seriously by the organization, simply because there are so many of them. It's a big body of evidence, and there's alien eyes behind landing traces, all kinds of things.
Where do you put John Lear in Arizona and pilots that flew for the CIA in the story? Because he was the big blabbermouth, John Lear, back when Ben Rich was alive. Remember Ben Rich and the Skunk Works? Or you were alive then,
yeah.
weren't you?
Well, a lot of things John Lear has said sounds true to me, and some things do not. I mean, I'm not sure where to fit it in, but it may be that he just knows a lot more about what the government was up to than I did. I'm not sure what to make of some of the things he said, but a lot of things he said have turned out to be true or most likely true. Like he said there were spacecraft in Saturn's rings doing recovery of water and minerals, and it indeed appears that a lot of the shepherd moons in Saturn's rings are probably artificial, and the moon Japetus of Saturn appears to be hollow or.
Well, who is that gentleman he follows? He's read 10 books on. He follows one particular man. Is he a channel? Is he getting his information direct? Because John Lear,
I don't know.
He follows a particular man that writes. Yeah, he's got a huge history of books. He's a very learned man, and he was I no doubt that he is very well educated. But for Vegas and Skunk Works, I mean, the man, I respect him and for the work. Like Stanton Friedman, we should mention him. But folks, whether we're going to put him under alienology, cosmology, or ufology, psyops, or all, in the UFO Association, because UFO is going to wind up being a defunct term. You do know they use UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, now, and that's the one that the Clintons made famous when we thought Hillary was going to be president, and she was on the show. Hillary
Clinton.
Clinton.
To go back to what Steve was saying, though. I was looking at a question about. So, Steve, you were talking about, and I just. I got lost again. There was a question I wanted to ask you about what you were saying. When are they going to get off of the lights in the sky? Yeah, because that's always so irritating. It's like, no, we're not going to keep talking about lights in the sky.
They don't want to go forward with the research. I mean, so I'm glad you've noticed too. I mean, they're stuck on that. They're following the whole government precept that aliens, if they're admitted to exist at all, ought to be safely up in the atmosphere or out in space. And they can't admit that they're coming down and messing with people in their bedrooms and in their automobiles driving down the road at night, because that damn well could cause a panic if it was admitted to by the government. They'd also have to admit that
it
despite all
these
billions of dollars they spend on defense, that the aliens can come and go as they please.
They know the difference. Some of them
do. I asked you, do you have them coming into your room? And I've had the Greys, people sometimes they go, well, they came when I was young. No, I've had the Greys in dawn, so it wasn't even dark, come and stand right beside my bed. And it was about a year ago now. So they're still visiting me. That's what I asked. I know a lot of us have had childhood
I remember seeing
abductions.
them. I remember my latest memory was about 5 years old. So yeah, they're still coming.
No,
I
have evidence too. I am an almost 65-year-old adult. In another 2 weeks, I will be 65 years of age. So it wasn't about procreation. They came and stood beside my bed, and we had a dialogue, a conversation. And that's why I was wondering, TJ, if you've had any interaction with them, now that you're beyond the reproductive
I can't
age.
be honest about it right now because I still have some blocked memories in between. Folks, I'm 67, so most of it is real in 3D experiences. But, Janet, I don't know how to answer that. The reason being, and Steve, I'm going to need your help on this.